this feels like loading. Oh, hi, I'm live. Yay, I'm live. Hello, everyone. Whoop-de-doo. I really don't like being what is this, the channel that everyone forgets they were a part of because, hey, it was years ago since you ever did a wrestling-related video, and then, that's right, I'm still subbed to this guy. Woo! I completely forgot about it. And then, of course, I'm always, the harbinger of bad news, or, hey, let's just comment about the bad things that happen. I'd really love to comment about good things that happen. World 2020, 2021, I'd like to have good things to talk about. I think I've actually probably upset enough people on Facebook now and got all my anger out that I could probably talk about this a little bit more calmly. So yeah, the world is burning again, and it's all just fine and dandy, and everything's going to, be destroyed. Hi, I see the one person that was viewing has just clicked away. Oh no, the one person's back. Maybe it's a new person. But yeah, so yeah, the world's burning again. This is like, what was the quote of All-Star? Hi, my world's on fire. How about yours? That's the way I like it. I'll never get bored. Yeah, no, I would prefer boring. I would prefer boring right now. But yeah. So, domestic terrorists attacked the Capitol building yesterday. At least thank you, some of the media, for actually calling domestic terrorism what it is, domestic terrorism. It took you long enough. It took you long enough of going same thing, both sides, that parallel. Hi, one side says, 2 plus 2 equals 4. The other side says 2 plus 2 is an evil conspiracy by 5G radio towers and the flat earth conspiracy in order to, create an evil overlord of demonic pedophiles to take over the world and the NWO and the Illuminati. These are two both sane and rational things. They're totally equal, same thing, both sides. The media profited off of this dividing and, subject and created just these pocket bubbles of just information feedback loops and basically escalated the situation over the 30 years at least. It became really obvious in the 90s. That's when this really started. But if you want to go back further, it's, you can thank the Nixon administration. But yeah, so that and YouTube and Facebook and all these other websites that have popped up. How long ago was YouTube the cesspool of flat earth conspiracy videos and, oh, are there really ancient aliens that have been doing these things, and I don't think 9/11 actually happened, it's a deep fake. How long was YouTube that cesspit? Okay, and Reddit and 4chan and insert whatever website you went to. How much of that echo chamber was, the social media, Facebook, Twitter, all these things? They profited off of it. They got advertisements in the sidebar and the top banner and all this sort of stuff. Every time you clicked on one of those videos, it didn't matter if it was full of malarkey, pseudoscience, or anything like that. This platform that I'm on right now actively, well, not by its inactivity and saying, hey, we're just a platform, we're not responsible for anything someone on this platform says or does. By taking that hands-off approach, they actively cultivated this insanity. And now you have people with, their brilliant plan of messaging and knowledge is, hi, I found a funny picture on the internet with a little tiny slogan at the bottom. Their valid form of thinking is, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And they think that somehow counteracts, an actual double-blind peer-reviewed study by, the actual people who took a 12-year degree researching certain things, So that's clearly this uneven playing field that has been created in the guise of nonpartisanship. To use a ridiculous example, hi, one side says we should just murder every redhead. One side says, don't do that, it's crazy. media goes and says, both sides are equal. Look at how bipartisan, how nonpartisan I am. I will give equal time to both these points of views. Maybe we should meet in the middle. How about we kill half the redheads? But that's what's been happening. Bit by bit, chunk by chunk, time and time and time as it goes along. This is where people go and say, I don't know what Trump's current thing is. Oh, get rid of Section 230, blah, blah, blah. Section 230 is what prevents people from suing YouTube, prevents them from suing Facebook, prevents them from suing Twitter for things that people like me will say on their platform. If I were to somehow go on a racist tirade and use the N-word 700 times, you can't sue Twitter or YouTube because of me. So, if they were to get rid of that, and I'm actually kind of a half and half on where to think about this, because this is where, long-term benefit or short-term benefit comes into play. And this is where you have the Trump divide with the rest of the Republican Party. Mitch McConnell, for all his terribleness, is a long-term strategist. He will take many political beatings in the short term. How could you do this? How could you not let $2,000 pass? How could you not do this? How could you not do that? But he'll do the long-term thing. He will sacrifice himself and fall on as many swords as he needs in the short term, because by the time it comes around 4 years from now, people forget. And he manages to pass through more Supreme Court justices, and oh look, it's a 6-3 split right now in favor of the Republicans for, the next 50 years. That's a long-term strategy. Whether you like him or hate him, he is effective at doing a strategy. Donald Trump is a short-term strategy guy. I want this now, this today, this, that, the other thing, I want it now. So he'll get to, make his big speech and grand proclamation and whatnot, and he'll get a momentary boost at the deficit of long term. He has been slowly eroding support over and over and over again for the past 4 years. Okay? Like, short-term gain, long-term consequences. And that's the divide. So we're in the situation where right now Trump is going, get rid of Section 230, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, because he's upset that Twitter blocked him, or that Facebook said, we're not going to allow this, or whatever. He's upset and he wants an immediate solution. Now, here's the thing. If Section 230 were to be gone, Trump gets to go and say, yay, I did it, look at all this, we did it, it's great, it's the best thing ever, blah, blah, blah. And then what's the long-term consequence? What is the long-term consequence? Who do you think are the first people going to be on that chopping block? If suddenly everyone can just start suing YouTube, start suing Twitter, start suing any website, whether it be the Huffington Post, New York Times, or whatever, NPR, Reuters, whatever, if people can start suing the Associated Press and going, hey, that person that wrote that column, or that person that said that thing in the opinion piece, or that person that said that in that video or that post on a message board, I'm going to sue you about it. Who do you think is going to be the first ones on the chopping block? It's going to be the people going with the flat earth conspiracy theories. Obama was actually born in Kenya, blah, 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 blah. And it's the secret Illuminati 5G towers of controlling you. Don't get vaccinated because it's going to cause autism, whatever. All of those people are going to be the first ones erased from the internet. Because if suddenly you can sue YouTube over stupid shit that I say, YouTube is going to immediately go, yeah, that guy, gone. So, they're going to go immediately after, your PragerUs, your, what even are the names of these freaking foundations? They're always something like the American Heritage Freedom 9/11 Jesus Foundation, It's always just the code words of like, here's all the nice happy things, and, it's always the most corrupt people that do that. But it's going to be the right-wing bubble that's going to be the first one guillotined. And then they'll go, and then afterwards they'll go after, us left-wingers and, take us off the chopping block. And then you're going to get your monetized, sanitized news of, whatever. That's going to be the verified accounts where you probably have to pay a subscription fee just to upload, which, that's probably going to be the new model if that were to happen. You would, and this is where I get the little debate back and forth in my head. Is it okay if I lose essentially my entire social media presence, my entire, clout, all 500 people that watch this channel, all 800 people that follow my Twitter? Is it okay if I lose all that? Would the greater good, because, taking away everything else with it as well, and taking away this, this basically corrupt system that has profited off of purposely misleading people and purposefully, just allowing complete and utter BS to flourish. Because social media has allowed these troll farms and all these other things. It's like, how many times do you see a message where it says, as a gay black man from North Dakota, I believe in this. And it's like, you're not a gay black man from North Dakota. Yeah, no. It's like, because you can even hear where it's like, it's like, you're not even typing English language. It's like, wow, what Google Translate did you have? Oh, look, it's the exact same message if you copy and paste it on 700 different forums. You're a bot. Probably made China, India, Russia, name a place that, that probably wants to influence our discourse and, have us divided. Just name any country, really. Because, we probably do the same thing to all of them as well. It's a tit for tat, back and forth. But you would essentially eradicate that in its current form. Is that the net positive? Or is that a short-term gain? And that's the back and forth in my head going, I don't know. But the other big, but at least, some of the media is actually calling it out. Hi, boo, I see you in the camera, the recording there. At least some of the media is actually calling out terrorism now, as it's actually terrorism. Politically motivated storming a Capitol building and to try to purposely overthrow an election, ignore all the votes, and, just install your own electors. Yeah, that fits the criteria of domestic terrorism. But the one thing that did stand, well, not the one thing, but other things that stood out to me over yesterday, outside of, it's actually secretly Antifa. Oh, yeah, because, they've been playing the long game of, being Trump supporters for 5 years. Man, they must have been playing. No one would hold that act for that long. But, that's, of course, the whole thing of like, oh, Joe Biden's secretly a socialist. I would like Joe Biden a lot more if he were a socialist. But yeah, no one actually, the only people that believe it are the people that want to believe it. The people that want to live in their bubble and they want to just get that feedback loop. But no, the other thing that I've noticed, and I used to think it was a race thing. I don't think it's that anymore. I don't think it's a race thing. I think race is a part of it, but it's a small part. The police are useless when it actually comes down to it. When it comes down to, like, actually doing something, they roll over and let you rub their bellies. Okay? Last time this happened with, the riots, and they took over Portland and took over all this stuff and did all that and burned down the police precinct, it's like, really? The police precinct is the thing that fell. This time, people armed, stormed the Capitol building. You knew they were going to do that. They were advertising it on social media. Hey, we're going to go and do this the 6th. Come on, let's go and raid the federal buildings. You knew it was going to happen. And they still were able to waltz right in and do it? What is your job to prevent this stuff from happening? This is twice. twice in short succession where you utterly, miserably failed. You failed at your job. You are the police. Well, I see someone says Hollow lives on. Yeah, while Trump is all being nice and calm and happy on the matter. Yeah, I can't verify if Trump told the National Guard not to join and then Pence, did call the National Guard and superseded it and they're invoking the 25th or whatever. That's all stuff that, I hear it circulating around and whatnot, but I can't verify any of it. So, I'm just going to leave that up to the, personally, I believe it, but there's no way to verify. So I'm just kind of leaving all that aspect out. But my point is that, so when peaceful protests actually happen, when people are standing hand in hand singing, just give peace a chance, and they're just kneeling on the ground in a human chain, here comes the police walking out with a pepper spray going to the entire line. Here comes the tear gas canisters. Here come the rubber bullets. Man, there is absolutely no whenever a peaceful protest happens, boy, those police are sure good to just, beat people the fuck up. When an actual armed protest happens, police run and hide. Police in Portland, Oregon, let their police precinct burn to the ground. Police in D.C., let people just storm the Capitol building. So the notion that has just happened here, because it's not just a one-time situation now. Now it's repeatable. Now, the message that is going to every organized crime syndicate anywhere is, guys, you can just take over any building you want. The police aren't going to do shit. They talk a big game. You talk about, well, it's better to be judged by 12 than carried out by 6. You talk about that thin blue line and Blue Lives Matter and all this stuff. You talk all this big game, and then when the cards actually are on the table, you fold. The police don't actually have any sort of power. The people whose job it is to protect everyday citizens are not actually good at protecting everyday citizens. I used to think it was just a race thing, like, oh, it's black people versus white people. No, it's not. It's power. When they see a crowd of unarmed people, they go, yes, I have more power than them. I'm okay. I can do my job. Now, how they interpret their job is up to question, but they're perfectly feeling fine. When the other side has opposition, has weapons, they go, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, run away, run away, run away. To which I ask this very simple question. How are we training police officers, and why is this their go-to modus operandi? This is just terrible. Look, I'm not, I'm not some, my knowledge base is coding, okay? I can teach you to code in Python, I could teach you to code in C++, JavaScript, HTML, that's my job. My job is not to structurally rechange the police force. But clearly, something is wrong with just what has happened here, with, just the structural foundation of this. I don't know how you're training them, but you need to train them differently. Also, I don't ever want to hear some, right-winger talk about, Blue Lives Matter ever again. When you're, carrying a Blue Lives Matter flag and using that to attack and invade the Capitol building, it's pretty clear that you don't actually care about blue lives. You're just using police as a prop. You didn't care about Blue Lives Matter. You just liked the fact that they were beating up the other guys. Once it comes to you, suddenly you're a special snowflake and you don't follow the same rules. It's the same way with how, for the longest time, support the troops, never actually meant supporting the troops. It's like, okay, I support the troops. You support the troops too? Okay, cool. You do realize that, there's a big problem with the VA and running out of funding for medical treatment and all those people that come back, injured from war and PTSD. You gonna pay for any of that? No? Okay. What about body armor? There was that body armor shortage and ration shortages and all that. I mean, we're spending all this money going to no bid contracts where we're getting charged 20 times as much as we need to for simple supplies. Are you gonna, you gonna do anything about that so that we, don't have troops out there that are lacking body armor? No? No, okay. What about the widows and children of people that, died during war? No, you're not going to do anything about that. Well, then you don't support the troops. You support war. There's a difference. Same thing with, unfortunately, a lot of, I'm anti-abortion. Okay. Okay, you're anti-abortion. I personally wouldn't have an abortion either. Now, I'm a male. It's physically impossible for me to have an abortion, but I personally wouldn't. I imagine that if I were a woman, I wouldn't. But, okay, so you support life, right? You're pro-life. Okay, pro-life. Got it. You're pro-life. That child that just got born is in a poor family. You going to do anything about food stamps or medical health? No, okay. There's a really big lack of funding in, orphanages and whatnot. You gonna do anything about that? No, okay. Hey, public education. A lot of people in these areas, their school textbooks are woefully inept, and they need way more funding so that they can have a better education and get out of, the slums and get into a much better position in life. You gonna do? No, okay. What life? What pros in this life are you giving them? You're not pro-life. You just want to tell people what to do with abortion. There's a difference between being anti-abortion and pro-life. It's just a lot of things like that. All these different code words and phrases that I guess people took it as a race thing because no one really got into any trouble. Then the 4 people that died, everyone else went home. Yeah, if Black Lives Matter had it done, it would be different. It's BS either way. Yeah, I agree. I think race is part of it, but I don't think it's the main part anymore. I could be entirely wrong. It could entirely be a race thing or majorly a race thing. I don't know. But, it's, once again, personal opinion. I'm not a news channel. Although, if you look into what actually counts as a news channel and what's counted as a entertainment program, when it comes to, I've never had to go to court and say, only an idiot would believe what I say is true because, it's clearly so far out of reality. So, But of course, free speech and whatnot. Although, honestly, I don't know, Fox News has been dry. Yeah, great start for 2021. Yeah, no, with all the people that don't even believe in the vaccine, like I'm Group 1B. Okay, so I should be getting this sometime between the end of January through like April. Okay, in theory, I'm ready to go back to work by, I'm doing work online, but I'm ready to go back to in-person work. In theory, June, July-ish. But here's the thing, with how many people just, don't even trust vaccines and don't even, they think that they're going to put a chip in you that's, going to be from a 5G cell tower to control you because, mind control works through bloodstream nanomachines. Like, how many people think the world functions like Metal Gear Solid? Yeah, it's not good. Nothing's gonna. 2021 is just gonna be another 2020. We're not looking for anything getting better until 2022. That's the honest to goodness. That's the reality. There's gonna be so many people that are just gonna die, and then of course you're gonna see this little turn where it's like, oh gee, look at the Biden virus. I mean, look at all these deaths under Biden's watch, and they're gonna just use it as a point to try and for midterm elections and for the next general. My predictions, here's the thing that I this is where I would wish I would have like bullet points and actually format this and actually think before I start, talking. But that would require effort. you know, but yeah, this is a bizarre turning point because I'm not quite sure where we go from here. Okay, historically, this is the last ditch effort for a fascist regime or whatever, where it just burns out like this. But I don't know if this is the end, because here's the thing: every single time there is a political infight in the Republican Party, the worst side wins. It's like people were upset because of Bush. Okay, so then there was so then they lost to Obama, and then there was a choice. There was a choice to go and refocus themselves and reevaluate what went wrong, or they could go further down into nationalism. They chose further down to nationalism. The rhinos, or I guess the Republican Party, who was established Republican Party since the 80s, were primaried out by the Tea Party. And the Tea Party and that. And now that gave us Trump. And now Trump is fighting with the rest of the Republican Party. There's a section of the Republican Party that's going, yeah, no, overturn the election. We don't care about the results of this, even though we, had 50 different lawsuits and all of them got laughed out of court, even the courts from all the justices that we put in place. But, we're going to overturn it anyway. And then there's the other side that says, hey, we're fine with, purging voter rolls, and we're fine with, disenfranchising it. Like, oh yeah, these 10 million people get one polling machine, but these 1 million people get 20. We're fine with just shifting the balance and odds that way, and we're fine with making these all funny, ridiculous kind of shapes for districts, just to give ourselves an overrepresentation of what our actual popular vote is. We're fine with doing all the legal ways to screw things up, but we're not going to overthrow democracy. Now those two sides are in a fight. So if something were to happen, if Trump were to run again in 2024 or try to run for a primary, history has shown he'd probably win. He'd probably win the Republican primary. And if he didn't, he'd probably run third party. And then what's going to happen? Well, much like how the Tea Party got rid of that previous wave of Republicans, well, if we're going under the normal assumptions of 50-50 here, of, Democrats are going to get 50% of the votes, Republicans get another 50% of the vote, oh, it's so close, which is what our normal thing is. Even though demographically it's really a 60-40 swing, but that's the Electoral College for you. Entirely different discussion. But let's just say it's normally 50-50. If it were a three-way race between generic Democrat, generic Republican, and Trump, okay, the Democrats are going to get their 50%. Honestly, Trump, if you look at Trump's polling numbers, even with all the things he's done, the Republican base loves him. So Trump is probably going to get 40% of the vote. Generic Republican will get 10. That's the death of the Republican Party, and all hail the Trump Party. So if I look at this like, well, hey, the Republican Party's imploding or whatever, every single time this happens, the worst version wins. So I don't really look at this as like a celebration, as other people are. I look at this going, guys, when it came to the Senate thing, Trump screwed them over, the Repubs big time. Wouldn't criticize if he said it was rigged as well. Oh, he will say it's rigged. He'll always say it's rigged. No, the man will never admit fault. He is always going to blame someone else, and it's always rigged and whatever. He will never accept that he lost. And even when he says he lost, he's going to say, "Oh, I lost, but it was rigged." There's always the caveat. It's not my fault. That's what it's always what it is. It's always someone else's fault. But here's the thing. 4 years from now, say Trump gets his, his website or his news channel or whatever, and he cultivates this giant base that's energized and love him, it's not going to matter. Whether it's 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, how many people are still praising Ronald Reagan for lowering taxes, even though he raised them 11 times afterwards? How many people are still, praising, how many people are going to praise George W. Bush now and have completely, forgotten the reason why Obama wanted a landslide was because by the time 2008 rolled around, everyone hated George W. Bush. Time is going to make everything seem so much sweeter. 4 years from now, who's to say that Trump is not gonna sound like, yeah, the great person or whatever, because people just think he's great. Which I'm always amazed at how no one ever realizes the sham. It's like it's the same trick every single time. It's talk out both sides of your mouth, promise great things, and then nothing else. It doesn't matter what party it's from. It's the same trick. Just because it's some different person doing the same trick, they don't realize it. Now, with that being said, oh god, I had another point. What was the other thing? What was the other thing that really stood out to me after all this? Outside of the arrests and whatnot, and how if it was the Black Panthers, 20 other people would be arrested, everyone would be arrested or dead, so on and so forth. All the blatant hypocrisy, rules for one group, no rules for the other, that sort of thing. That's a given. That is a given. At the very least, though, people are starting to actually call domestic terrorism what it is, domestic terrorism. I mean, trying to kidnap elected officials, car bombs. If you want to go back to the Bundy Ranch, the people that were saying, we're going to, put a wall of women and children as, human shields so that the police don't shoot. And then, 2 of those members went and shot up a Walmart after it all went down. Yeah, this has been growing. I mean, even George W. Bush's cabinet, had that report of saying, hey, guys, there's a big problem involved with, rise of, right-wing nationalism that's going to get pretty violent. We've known about this for 20 years, and people just ignore it because, hey, that's, those people look like me. They're not the other. So, if the man's name was Muhammad, oh yeah, I believe it. I believe Muhammad would do that. If the man's name is George, oh, hey, I like George. George is like me. I can relate to George. So, it's the bubble of what you view as you. And if you have a very narrow view set of what you are, then, those people in that bubble, yeah, they were just kidding, or they didn't mean what they actually said, or it was just one bad apple, even though it's 700 bad apples later, or it's just this, whatever. Honestly, 2020 didn't have the Trump would have had 4 more years if it was not for the pandemic, if 2020 was not the way it was, which honestly is which is why all these people going oh yeah, the lessons learned. They didn't learn anything. They didn't learn anything. How many people watch the coverage of people going even after domestic terrorists raid the Capitol building, how many people were still going and saying, hi, this election was fraud and rigged and whatever, I'm going to protest it for 5 minutes during every single state along the way? Yeah. They've learned, they haven't learned anything. They're doing the same pandering, the same lies, the same fuel that creates that. That was the point. That was the point that I was thinking of. Politician, we have no idea how this violence happens. Same politician. Hi, I'm going to spout conspiracy theories, nonsense that, causes all this violence and gets people riled up. Same politician again. Boy, howdy, we have no idea how any of this happens. By the way, all of you people that, are storming the thing, tisk, 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 tisk. I disagree with your tactics, but you're totally right, and it's rigged. Please donate to my campaign. they are stuck in this place where they have to, rile these people up because they have to out crazy each other because that's what gets them attention and that's what gets them votes. But then they go around and turn and go and say, oh, we have no idea how this happened. It's like, I don't know how many of these people that watch these videos actually follow wrestling, okay? I pretty much used to be a wrestling channel of wrestling reviews, but there is this notion that, wrestling needs to change, okay? It's gotten too cartoony, too insane, too this, too that, the other. Personally, I agree. But you're at this point where the audience you're expecting, like here was the audience beforehand, and as it got crazier and crazier, ratings dropped. So here are the ratings now, here are the ratings before. And I promise this is a point. So you want to do the things that got you these ratings beforehand. You got to change wrestling. But here's the problem. The people that are expecting this giant group, they're gone. They're not watching anymore. The people that expect the stupid crap today, they expect the stupid crap today. If you get rid of the stupid crap, this audience is going to drop. And they're going to drop before this other audience grows back. So even if, in theory, changing the way things are is going to get you a better result, that better result is not instantaneous. You're going to lose the support you have first before you do this, before you get the new support. And no one wants to be that person that does the risk, because the person that does that risk is committing career suicide. They're doing political suicide. They're doing whatever. They are essentially saying, in 50 years' time, I'll be viewed as, ahead of the curve or whatever. But being ahead of the curve 50 years from now doesn't mean jack. It doesn't mean anything. You're not getting the money. You're not getting the prestige. You're ruining your career. You're never going to get voted in. So no one wants to do it. It has to be a unilateral decision by everyone to go and say, this stops now. No one's going to do that. They're not going to do that until, metaphorically, the gun is against their head. Much like how, hey, we have all these plants. Like, we know that water is getting scarcer. Clean water, clean drinking water, because of pollution in Africa or just overuse of our aquifers and whatnot. We know there's going to be a water shortage, years later. Okay? No one's going to do a thing about it until it actually comes to the point where, oh crap, we're out of water, things are going bad, there's a war over water. Only then will they actually do anything about it. Because no one wants to spend the money to go and make the plants that treat the water, whether it's a desalination plant or just cleaning up polluted water in wherever. No one wants to do it. They don't want to take the short-term cost, because on the short-term cost, it's a cost. It's going to cost them money. They're going to lose money on the deal. Even if it's a long-term benefit, everyone's going, no, you make it. I'm not making it, you make it. Yeah, I'm not doing it, you do it. And they're going to go kicking and screaming until finally, until finally Bastille Day happens. Then they're all going to go, oh, golly gee, this technology we've had for 50 years, now we're going to use it. That's what it is. And how do you fix that mentality? I don't know. The mentality culture in America is F you, I've got mine. Countries like South Korea, communal. They immediately took care of coronavirus because, they all, they're communal based. It's like, oh, it's for the greater good of the country. Okay, yay. We don't have that sort of mentality here. We don't have a collectivist mentality. We have I did this by myself. even though I was taught in a public school, went on a public road, was trained by people who are experts in the field, and they had their education, and and then I got experience, and someone else gave me this, that, the other thing, and when I was down, the other people's tax dollars boosted me up via food stamps or Medicaid or whatever, and then I had all these different other inventions that other people made and I utilized, like my car and my computer, and I did none of this myself actually, but I did it myself. So you'd have to end that mentality to actually fix anything. It's like, everyone said, it's like the debate of like, well, what's better? In terms of the cartoonish part anyway. But honestly, even if Biden sucks for the next 4 years, Trump will always be that one guy that they will always remember. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you definitely have a much more, I guess, cheerful worldview than me. I'm not sure, but but yeah. Once again, like I said, I really don't like being the nihilist guy here. Nihilism. The English language has so many words I can just like. Is that how it's pronounced? But I think it'd be weird for someone whose favorite word is lugubrious. You think I'd actually learn? I think I'd actually know how to pronounce things. But again, if we actually had a phonological language, there would be no doubt on how things are supposed to sound. It's like there's no question of, is that a hard I or a soft I? Is that a hard A or a soft A? So on and so forth. Is that a CH actually a ch, or is that a k? Because sometimes CH is k for some reason. Just other things like that. Silent letters, all that sort of fun stuff. By the way, what was I talking about? Oh yes, I was talking about. Oh nope, I lost it again. Oh yeah, the collectivism. It's the same thing back of like, oh, what's better, socialism or capitalism or blah 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 blah. It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter, because if you bring a new type of if you bring a new type of government to a group of people, those group of people will bring their own biases and preconceived notions and morals and whatnot to the new government. So look at Russia. Russia, back from the czars, brutal, enforcing power, so on and so forth. Then comes the communist revolution. What happens? Brutal, enforce the power, keep people down, so on and so forth. And then the fall of the Soviet Union, they become capitalist. What are they now? Brutal, enforce the power, keep people down. Magically, all the journalists get thrown off rooftops accidentally, and somehow Putin wins with like 98% of the vote. The society never changed. It's three different, government types, the same thing every single time. Socialism will work in a Nordic country because Nordic countries have that collectivism mindset. You bring socialism into America, even if people love the ideas of Medicaid and housing and all this other stuff, the F you, I got mine, I don't want to pay taxes for this mindset is going to still be there. It's going to still ruin it. We're going to get the same exact problems we have right now. It's a new coat of paint on the same problem. To change, you have to change people. So, I mean, I guess there's a plus side of millennials are like the most liberal generation. And then, of course, Gen Z? Is Gen Z the new Gen? Is that what the name is? I never know these names. The I generation or whatever they're calling them. They're even more liberal than us. So, in 50 years' time, 100 years' time, maybe there will be a collectivism. Who knows? But nothing's going to actually change or get fixed until the actual thought process of, the population changes. I don't know who's going to do that or how that's going to happen, but, see how it goes. So, yeah. That's generally everything. I don't know if there's anything else I need to talk about. I really would like to not have, 45-minute, videos of just, the world is ending. So more just accepting how the world is. Not that I cared, but it's time to get the hell out. Really, yeah. My I think my brother and his I guess it's fiance. I don't know. Has he actually proposed? I don't know. And yeah, no. My brother lives in Tasmania now, and like I think he and his significant other are just convinced like by 2026, David, get over here. And it's like, come on, man, you've got skills for this, that, the other. You'd be a wanted job. It's like, and you know what? I really think that my significant other wouldn't mind. They'd probably enjoy that. The thing is, I'm stubborn as hell. I'll admit, I am stubborn as hell, and it's like, I don't want to leave my current job. I don't want to leave my current friends. And I'm not saying accept how the world is. No, honestly, keep voting, keep doing everything. If we've seen anything with Georgia, it's that, hey guys, if you actually go out there and vote, you have more votes than them. Do everything you can to, make, voting as, as easy as possible, whether, make voting, make election day a national holiday so you don't have work, so that you don't have an excuse to not go to the polls, early voting so that you are able to do it without having to, worry about, oh crap, it's getting late, I'm still stuck in this line, let me just go home. Do everything you can to combat voter suppression and make sure, equal representation, get rid of the whole, hi, we have, 30% of the vote, but somehow have 80% of the seats because of this ridiculous shape we've made as the district. No. Make sure you still, there is no roll over and die, do nothing. That's, the centrist point of view. And by centrist, I mean, the stupid people that go, hey, I'm just going to stay out of this, because then you're not doing anything. You're not, I hate what's happening. I'm going to, I'm not going to just get out of this and I'm not going to do anything. Well, then the same thing is going to happen, the same thing you hate. So no. Oh, no, honestly, keep fighting the good fight, I'm with you. I support you. Now, now, once again, I have to put the caveat in here because, the minute you say, go fight the good fight, someone's going to go and say, aha, that guy supports a riot or something. No. Legal legislation and all the other sort of stuff, like your representation, all that sort of, the legal means of doing things. So, in case anyone wanted to be an asshole and, flag this video for something. Yeah. So, but yeah, but yeah, I've got that all going on. So, is there anything I need to talk about? Anything I need to get off my chest? I guess I'll share this little story because it was funny. Because I went to, get my flu shot today and wore the Nirvana shirt. 3 different people. The only 3 people I met today, none of them knew what Nirvana was. Not only that, actively walked up to me and went, what is that shirt? What is that? Okay, granted, Nirvana got big in 91, so I was 3. so okay, it was a little before my time, but I thought Nirvana was still more in the public consciousness than that. It's like, if I were to wear a Metallica shirt, would I have gotten the same reaction? Now I'm just thinking, like, I gotta go so ridiculous. Like, let's get a Days of the New shirt or a Pitch Shifter. Power Man 5000. How many of these bands do people actually remember or hold on to that were big in like the 90s, early 2000s? If I literally were, actually, you wouldn't catch me dead with a Limp Bizkit shirt, but if I were to wear a Limp Bizkit shirt, would someone actually know that? I just find it funny. It's like, man, I'm old. No, none of these people know this band. And again, I'm also like, I get reminded of that every single time I teach a computer class or whatever. When it's like, so you guys see Lion King? And it's like, that was before I was born. And it's like, Lion King was before you were born? It's like, man, all my childhood. I'm old now. I have no idea how long this chat is as far as like behind when I say something, but yeah. Yeah. So yeah, actually, I gotta start getting ready for eye doctor's appointment. Starting to get headaches. Starting to think maybe my prescription is out of date. I was purposely holding off the glasses, the dentist, the checkups, and all that sort of stuff, lab work. I was purposely holding all that stuff back during the pandemic because I was naive and thought, you know what, it'll be done in a year. Then 2021 comes around and it's like, okay, David, let's actually just do everything that you held off on. So between today and tomorrow and Monday, I'm like, oh, every single thing that I held off on, doing it all at once. So, yay, I will be perfectly up to date with everything that needs to get done medical-wise and all that sort of fun stuff. Apparently, I'm perfectly healthy. I just need to lose weight, which, is everyone in this pandemic. So, yeah, hopefully the next time I actually do one of these videos, hopefully it's, something entertaining or enjoyable. I mean, I don't know. What would I want to do? Because, reviewing old wrestling, I could review old wrestling. Because I got the network now finally. I've been watching old NWA stuff. I mean, I realized Wrestle Kingdom was literally a few days ago and I forgot. But then again, New Japan, I kind of got sick and tired of New Japan, honestly. Only so many times you can watch a 70-minute match before you just go and say, I've seen everything. I've seen every single move in the book. I've seen every single thing. None of this makes any sense anymore. Like, give me a 10-minute New Japan match and I'll probably love it. But, so give me something from Suzuki or Goto or something. And it'll probably be fine. Cannot stand the main event at Wrestle Kingdom. It's like, yes, I'm sure Kota Ibushi is great. I'm sure he and Switchblade had an amazing match or whatever. Or I'm sure he and Naito, honestly, you missed my reviews? Here's the thing. If I were to review modern wrestling right now, I would be angry Jim Cornette. Because I hate all of it. I honestly hate all of it. I hate WWE. I hate AEW. The one thing I liked was the NWA revival. And even that got too much of a ha ha ha, wink wink. Wasn't studio wrestling in the 70s and 80s kind of stupid? It's like the Robot Chicken of wrestling. It's like, I want you to be real. Be real. And I know this comes from the guy that has 2 music gimmicks as his personas in wrestling. I know. It's like imagine if I was Orange Cassidy and I'm telling people to be serious. It's like, no, I know, pot calling kettle black, and then it's like, man, what did you do? You're just, you did local stuff. Your promotion's not even running right now because of the pandemic. Have my feelings of Impact changed over the years? I haven't watched Impact. I know people, like, every single time I see like a message where it says like, man, Impact is really great right now. You got to watch it. I watch it and then I just see the exact same thing. It's like, this is just AEW, but with less of a budget. This is just WWE with less of a budget. It's like, it's the same thing. It's, bunch of skinny white guys or long bearded white guys doing a bunch of spots that are overly contrived where you're watching the guy standing outside going, oh, I'm so dizzy, I'm totally not watching you for 30 seconds before he finally, jumps off. It's like, no, it's like, yes, I know the machine guns are back, and I know the machine guns are better than that explanation of, oh, look, I'm watching and watching and watching. But honestly, the TNA of 2007 and 2006 and 2005, even all the way up to 2010, even the Hogan years, there were still people that were crisp and clean and didn't do anything that broke the illusion. I watch it now and I see, oh, here's whoever it is that's coming on, and it's like, okay, who's this guy? I watch the first spot of the match and I go, nope, that guy can't work. He may be athletic as all hell, can outpace me, has better cardio than me, has more muscles than me, has all these things better than me. I admit this. I honestly admit this. But can this guy do a lockup and make it look real? No. So I look at this and I go, like, it's kind of weird because, there are things where I look back at some of those things and, like, there were a few things I got right. There's a lot of stuff I got wrong in those old reviews where it's like, yeah, I said some stupid shit that was very markish. But at the same time, someone just joined in 50 minutes later. Wow, you're online again. I remember watching your Impact videos. We were just talking about that, and I'm just going like, what do I think of Impact now? And it's like, I don't watch it. I hate all of modern wrestling. Like, I don't know. If I could do, like right now, if I could do something, honestly, if I were to make videos again, it'd be something more in the lines of OSW review. It'd be more of just old school wrestling, like, hi, let's watch Starrcade 83. That would be my jam, Because honestly, after watching Starrcade 83, after watching that dog collar match, and I'm just watching this going, they are doing nothing for 2 minutes straight, and the crowd is eating this alive. Oh my God, the storytelling of this. They pop for a hit. One swing of a chain. Pop! 5 minutes into the match, and it's like, this is good shit. And I'm like, man, I want this again. So, and that was before my time. I wasn't even born yet. So I'm going back and rewatching all this. I'm putting notes down. Honestly, I have notes over there of how much stuff when wrestling finally comes back to Delaware. Like, I'm literally going like, here's all the shit I am gonna steal. Flat out rip off because no one does this anymore. I have a notepad of all the stuff I am going to blatantly rip off. And everyone's going to go and say, oh my God, that's so new and unique. I've been looking at other stuff. I've been looking at like different like martial arts and MMA stuff, like triangle chokes and all that. And it's like, okay, just to see like little things so it looks less choreographed. Like I want it to actually look like, brutish, like it's actually a struggle. I think that was part of one of my problems. I was getting way too clean. That was like, yeah, you did a drop kick and you did this, you float over and yay, and it looks too mechanical. Looks way too mechanical, looks too pre-rehearsed. I want it to look gritty when I get back. AEW is the successor to TNA, yes. Yes, AEW is the successor of TNA. More specifically, it's the successor of WCW circa 95, 96, maybe 97. TNA was, 98, 99, 2000. And I know they're working together now. Kenny Omega's doing this thing of, cross-promotion and basically the Bullet Club is existing through 3 different promotions right now. And I'm not quite sure I like that, because you need to, know this encyclopedia of outside information to get the storylines. It makes sense to you and me and the hardcore fans, we're that tiny percentage of an audience. But for the vast majority of people, they never saw New Japan. They never saw the Bullet Club. They never saw any of that. So it's once again one of those situations where in order to grow, the mainstream audience, you have to throw the hardcore fans aside. But by throwing the hardcore fans aside, you're going to lose that audience. And maybe the mainstream comes back. Maybe it doesn't. So it's a risk. It's a very big risk. So, but honestly, I'm of the opinion I'm sick and tired of Bullet Club. I'm sick and tired of heel factions. I'm sick and tired of heel authority figures. There's certain tropes in wrestling that are just, they've been run to the ground. Yeah, yeah, AEW was fine until they started to become like Impact since they was going to WC. Yeah, I mean, AEW now has Sting. If that's not TNA style, I don't know what is. Yeah, yeah. Here's the thing. I would like Sting to have some sort of different evolution to his character. I know everyone wants the Crow makeup. I want to see something different with the makeup. Like, I understand, like, in this case, he's not really an active wrestler. He's more of like a manager, I think, or whatever. So it's a different take. But I want an evolution. Like when you go to a different company or whatever, it's a fresh start. You're not going to do the exact same thing. Like I like it when people kind of reinvent themselves. I did like the Joker Sting gimmick. I did like Joker Sting, but we've seen Joker Sting as well. We've seen Surfer, we've seen Crow, we've seen Joker. What's that fourth new version of Sting? That's what I want to see. And of course, I'm one person, whatever, and I'm not going to be watching AEW anyway, so, why listen to me on this? So it's just, but I just want to know what that is, because, Sting wears the makeup, but then he, comes in and he's going like, hey, Tony, give me a hug, or whatever. It's like, okay, you're not the brooding anti-hero. You still dress like it, but you're not. So what does this version of Sting wear as his face paint? Well, what is his outfit? What is his this? I that's kind of what it is. I like it when people, reinvent themselves after a certain time, because, even if you're kind of the same gimmick, WWF Hulkamania was different from WCW Hulkamania. If Undertaker were to go to WCW, it wouldn't have been, the same Dead Man. It would have been slightly different, Boss Man versus Bubba Rogers, IRS versus Varsity Club, I like that people reinvent themselves when they switch things up. So, when they switch companies. So, then again, once again, if that audience hasn't seen that gimmick, then it doesn't matter because, hey, we haven't seen this gimmick for a while, absence makes the heart grow fond, as they say, or whatever. So, honestly, thank you guys for all the wrestling questions. You've put me in a much better mood after all this. It's amazing how just talking about wrestling makes me happy. Although I'm saying, if I were to talk about wrestling reviews of modern stuff, I would just be so angry because I hate it all right now. But yeah, I mean, I gotta get like some like old school wrestling reviews or something. Just watching old school wrestling or whatever. But then it's not just me. Like I can't just talk about matches for like an hour straight because it's gonna be way too. There's only so long you can watch me sitting in a chair talking. I would have to do like some actual editing and clips and do that, and then I have to worry about the 10 seconds before copyright rules, and then God forbid there's copyright music and all that sort of stuff. So I have to mute stuff, do that, make the files, upload it. These gigantic ass file sizes. But yeah, if I could get a group together of just like, hey, we're gonna, watch a old school NWA, telecast or something with 3 guys, and we're not gonna show the screen, but hey, we're show our reactions or whatever and something, maybe just review it. I could do something like that. I would like to review good wrestling. And just to pick apart why I like this when I don't like modern stuff. I would like to do that. I'm not even sure how many of the old, review. Ooh, it is 1:45. I've got. Let me check this to make sure. Calendar. Yeah, 2:30. Okay, I really got to start getting ready, so I'll probably take us a few more minutes and then stop. But yeah. But hey, the video about me showing Spoonie how to properly play that Dungeons and Dragons game is still up. But yeah. I pretty much just got rid of all those reviews mainly because when you're actually in the industry, which let's poison that term some more because it's going to go into the what channel are you on or how much money you made, this, that, the other. And then you got all these qualifiers of what in the industry counts as. I just it's kind of egotistical to just say all these people that are making six figures on TV, they're doing it wrong and all that sort of stuff. It's just not a good look. Hi, let's burn every bridge before you even get there. Not that my goal was to get there anyway. My goal is to do something I love. But and if that takes me to whatever, I always thought you'd end up a writer for a wrestling show. I would love to do that. Honestly, I would. It would have to be my own show. I would have to literally buy my own ring, build my own stadium. Well, not a stadium, but build a studio with a ring and enough crowd for friends and family. Just to say guys, cheer this person, boo this person. I would have to heavily paper it and actually have local guys that have been trained and whatnot, and it would be a whole process. It would be a whole process because I do not work well with others when it comes to could you imagine me in WWE, Vince McMahon walking in, ripping up an entire script, going, "Now redo this." After, writing for an audience of one, purposely, making the most ridiculous, fart humor possible because Vince McMahon likes it. Yeah, no, I would drive myself insane. So yeah, it would have to be, if I were to write a wrestling show, it would have to be a wrestling company that I would either own, or it would have to be a local indie something where it's hey, David, we need, it's been, you've been with us for, 20 years or whatever, and we think you got a good mind. Let's test this out, run a couple of shows, and then of course I'd only have to write, 4 to 8 shows a year, depending on how well wrestling comes back after the pandemic for independent wrestling. So yeah, that would be fun. Because really, in all honesty, any sort of storytelling, it's all, plotting it out. What's your A story, B story, C story? What characters do you need where do you need to place them? You can index card that. Maybe you can change the WWE. No, when you're on the stock exchange, there's no changing you. There is no changing that. Because at that point, your goal is to make more money for the shareholders. That is the only goal. The only goal is keep making more and more revenue. So keep bleeding the customer base dry even more so that you can just keep being improving. Because the moment you dip, everyone's gone. And I say this as someone who owns stock in Nintendo and various other companies that have, started out with $500. I've made $2,000. So, it's not a matter of, going, oh, I hate the stock market, or, oh, the stock market needs to be destroyed. It's just, it is an entirely different beast. And honestly, anything I would want to do for the WWE to change it would basically piss off every advertiser. Because WWE is not real. And I don't mean that as the ratings are bad, it doesn't matter. They're making more ad revenue than ever. They're making more money than ever. They're making more buck than ever. They have... they won't change a thing. They won't change a thing. They won't. It doesn't matter ratings, because you know what they say? Oh, we got demographics. And if they don't have that, oh, well, we got more, sales off of WWE.com, or oh, we're making more money off the network. Oh, look, we don't have expenses of touring anymore. There's going to always be an excuse that they're going to keep making more money. So when they're essentially a de facto, monopoly. I mean, it's not really a monopoly, but How many times, like, when people said, like, oh, Sting's in this place, and they go, what's this place? I've never heard of any company outside of WWE. So it's, WWE is essentially, even if public consciousness, like with wrestling, it's like, name a wrestler: Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock. People don't even know, but or whatever. But it's they are essentially a de facto monopoly, and it's a monopoly just of name recognition and value. That's all it is. It'll be 10 more years of AEW before they have to worry. At least that's my thought process. Then again, I'm terrible at guessing time because I earlier in this video said, I thought the pandemic would have ended, after 6 months. You see how good I am at timetables, because I'm totally wrong on all of them. Oh, Jericho beat them both, but now you won't recognize. No, I'm not saying. Okay, I'm not saying AEW doesn't beat people in demographics or they beat ratings or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, as far as public consciousness goes, no one knows. Okay? They know WWE. It's been a household name for 100 years, back to the WWF. It's just ingrained in social consciousness. It's like, how many times have you heard someone say, how many times have you seen this in a movie? Someone playing a PlayStation controller and a Nintendo game is on the screen. And then someone walks in and says, hey, put your Game Boy down. That's public consciousness. They don't know the nitty-gritty details. They don't know that AEW exists. Even if more people watch AEW than WWE, the mainstream, which, by the way, the mainstream currently does not watch wrestling, the mainstream doesn't know. The mainstream doesn't care. The mainstream goes, wrestling, I watched Stone Cold once. Wrestling, I watched Hulk Hogan. That's what their viewpoint is. Hence why every video game system is called a PlayStation, or every game is called Halo, or every, system is called a Nintendo. That sort of thing. Every wrestler is, oh yeah, that guy works in WWF, whether they work in the WWF or not. That's my point. So, they are still getting their footing, yes. And that is a good thing, which is why I said, 10 years from now, maybe people will catch on and realize. But, once again, then again, as I said before, my timetables are horribly inaccurate. My timetables are horribly, horribly inaccurate. But, that's just my guess. I could be completely wrong. But yeah. If I were in charge of WWE, what I would do is I would basically rip up all the, here's your lines, rip those up. Bip, 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 bip. Here's your bullet points. You're wrestling this guy at this point in time at this date. And you hate each other because blank. Okay? Be real. And the best way to hide a lie is in between truth. So, for example, my name's David Montecchio. I'm a local independent wrestler. I was born in New Jersey. I was a moderator on an Inuyasha/Harry Potter fan site in my teens, which was a horrible idea because, never ever give a teenager power over any of that. My favorite wrestler is Sting. Let's see here. What other random factoids about me is, that's my cat Boo over there. You probably saw her walking around. And in this little diatribe that I've had, there was one lie. Where was it? And that's why you want to be real. So whatever their characters are, there needs to be a character that's, pro Black Lives Matter and like is an anarchist or something. There needs to be a character that is, a real honest to God hillbilly. There needs to be a character that's a real honest to God, just I'm better than you because I'm a vegan. There just needs to be something that is factual about these people. And when you're factual about these people and give them real life problems, these two people are going to argue because this person supports Black Lives Matter, this person doesn't. They're going to have a fight. That's the issue. But that issue would piss Coca-Cola off. It would piss, Dell PCs off. It would piss everyone off. They're never going to do that. And no, Sting is not the lie. The lie was that is not my cat, Boo. That's actually my girlfriend's cat. Boo just likes to live up here because she just decides she likes to get away from the dog. So, but your guess was a thing about Sting. It wasn't. So, like I said, be real. Being real is what I would do. And you're not ever going to get that in WWE because they have shareholders and companies, and the moment you're real, shareholders and companies and advertisers are going to get angry. They will never have that happen. They will always be the safe Disney Mickey Mouse approach to wrestling. Because if they stop doing that, they're going to lose all their money from all these big TV deals and whatnot. No one's going to want them. Even if they do gangbuster ratings, the advertisers will flee in panic. It is about 2 o'clock. I really do have to get going because I got a eye doctor appointment at 2:30. So thank you all very much for being here. I love you all. For those that are going to rewatch this video and wonder what the heck the first 45 minutes were about because it's titled The World is Burning Again, you're going to get a bunch of angry me talking about politics. And then we had a nice, lovely wrestling chat afterwards. And I quite liked that. So you guys really cheered me up. Thank you very much. I love you all. Have a great day. And end the stream, yes.